One lazy Sunday night, I decided to play around with makeup in my bedroom. I had just gotten some new products for my birthday that I was excited to try out. I pulled up a few makeup tutorials on YouTube and tried to copy the looks on my own. When I was all finished, I was proud of the look, so I decided to take some pictures of myself. I tried out different poses and lighting before finally getting a selfie that I liked. I hadn't shared anything on Instagram in a while, so I decided to post the picture. I was hoping it would catch the attention of Luke, this guy in one of my classes that I was crushing on. I picked a filter and then posted the photo. I set my phone down on my bed and decided to go downstairs to grab a snack. I headed back upstairs about 15 minutes later and picked up my phone to see if anyone had hit the like button yet. I was excited to see that quite a few people had commented. As well as that, a follow request popped up, so I clicked on it to find out who it was. The notification was from somebody named Jack, and his profile was private, so I couldn't see what he looked like. I was confused because I didn't know anybody named Jack. I just assumed it was somebody from one of the other local schools, so I accepted the request, and then requested to follow him back. It had only been around 30 seconds I had sent the request before I noticed that the user had commented on my most recent selfie. "So hot," they had written. Even though I didn't know who the guy was, I was still flattered. Then I noticed he had sent me a DM. I clicked on it, and any sense of flattery or excitement I had earlier quickly turned to fear. The user had sent me a picture. It was a picture taken from outside of my house. It was zoomed in on my bedroom window, and through it you could see me posing for selfies. I could tell from the outfit I had on that the picture was taken that night. I sat my phone down and raced to my window to close the blinds. I then turned off all the lights in my room so no one could see me from outside. My fingers shaking, I carefully moved the blinds just a few centimeters so that I could peer outside. Sure enough, I could see a dark figure crouched down in the bushes in my backyard. That was enough for me to know that I was likely in danger. I reached for my phone and ran to my parents' room to show them the photo. They were just as concerned as I was and decided to call the police. The police came to our house and did a sweep of our whole property, but the creepy figure was nowhere in sight. Luckily, however, they were able to trace the person's account. Shockingly, they tracked the messages to a man who was wanted in the next county over, in connection with a slew of charges from trafficking to kidnapping. Now, every time I take a selfie, I always remember that night. One day, my friend Lizzie and I were hanging out at the mall. We were just shopping around looking for new outfits when school started in the fall. We were having a great time and sharing lots of laughs. Once it got to be late in the afternoon, we were getting hungry, so we decided to go out to the food court. We had just gotten some soft pretzels and had sat down at a table to eat when an older man approached our table. The man was dressed in a simple black button-down shirt and black pants. He wore sunglasses, and his gray hair was slicked back. The man asked us for our names, and hesitantly, we gave them to him. He then asked us if we would let him take us on a shopping spree around the mall. He told us he would get us anything we wanted, and he would take us to all the fancy stores. Lizzie and I were young and didn't have a whole lot of spending money, so I have to admit the offer was tempting. But we knew better than to accept an offer like this from a stranger, so we politely turned him down. He kept pushing us to come with him, telling us he would take us to get all the fine jewelry and clothing that we wanted. Again, we told him no. The more he persisted, the more uncomfortable we felt. Eventually, we decided to just leave the food court and go to a different part of the mall. We didn't see the man anywhere, so we figured he had finally gotten the hint. We continued shopping for a little bit longer before heading out to the parking lot where Lizzie's car was parked. The weather was so nice, so we decided to pose for a few selfies together. We then hopped in the car to head home. While Lizzie was driving, I was scrolling through my phone, looking through the photos we took to decide which one to post. When I got to the last picture, I was stunned. Standing a short distance behind us, half concealed by another vehicle, was a man staring directly at us. I immediately recognized him as the man who had approached us earlier. I was extremely creeped out and showed the photo to Lizzie, who agreed that it was strange. We were worried that the man might try to follow us back to Lizzie's house, so she decided to take a roundabout way home to throw him off, just in case. Of course, we had no idea what his car looked like, so it was hard to tell if we were being followed. Lizzie and I were so creeped out that we decided to have a sleepover that night. We put on a funny movie and tried to forget about the strange events of the day. We were laughing and having a great time up until I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. I answered it and put it on speaker so Lizzie could listen in. On the other line, I heard a man's deep voice. "It was nice seeing you and Lizzie earlier today," he said. I was completely terrified and hung up the phone. I then immediately blocked the number. We had no idea how the man from the mall had even gotten my number. That night, we were so scared we barely got any sleep. It's been a few days now and we haven't heard anything more, but Lizzie and I made a pact that if he tries to get in contact with us again, we're going to call the police. One day my grandparents were going out of town for a few days, and so they asked me to house sit for them. It wasn't a very hard job. All I had to do was hang out at the house until they got back, water their plants, feed their cat. On the first night I spent at the house, I decided to take advantage of my grandparents' cable. They had a lot more channels than I had at home, so the options were endless. I scrolled through shows and movies until I found one that I liked and turned it on. I was so focused on the show that I almost didn't notice that I got a text from an unknown number. The message confused me. "How's Howie doing?" it read. Coincidentally, Howie is the name of my grandparents' cat, who was cuddled up next to me. But I didn't know any Howies in person, so I figured the sender had just sent the text to the wrong number. I was in the mood for a snack, so I headed into the kitchen to make a plate of brownies. Once I finished, I headed back into the living room and picked up my phone. I was surprised to see the number from before had texted me again. "What I would do for a brownie right now," it read. That was strange, but still, I knew there was a huge chance it was just a coincidence. "I think you have the wrong number," I replied. I then headed upstairs to the guest bedroom where I would be sleeping that night. I killed time before bed by video chatting with a couple of friends, snapping some selfies, and scrolling through social media. I was just about to plug my phone into the charger when I heard a ping letting me know I had gotten a text message. It was from the same number as before. "You're a great baker," it read. I was puzzling over the message when all of a sudden, the number sent me a photo. I tapped on it, and what I saw made my heart drop. The photo was of the plate of brownies I baked earlier in the evening and left on the counter. I could tell by the blue and white checkered pattern of the plate. My grandparents were not the type of people to play pranks, and I was the only other person to have keys to the house. An intruder was in the house. My heart was beating out of my chest as I tried to figure out what to do first. I slid out of bed and tiptoed across the room to the door and locked it as quietly as I could. I then grabbed my phone and dialed 911. I told the operator that someone had broken into the house and that I was afraid for my life. They instructed me to stay on the line and to be as quiet as I could. They were sending officers right away. Just then I got another text message from the same number. "Why are you hiding from me?" it read. It included a picture of my bedroom door. Then the banging started. Someone was hitting my door so hard I was sure it would break. I could hear sirens approaching the house and could only hope they would get there in time. I held my breath as I heard police enter the room and approach the intruder. There was yelling and a lot of chaos, but the intruder was finally detained. The police told me that the individual had escaped from a local mental hospital and that I was lucky to be unharmed. Which one was your favorite story? Make sure to hit subscribe, hit that like button, and leave a comment below. Until next time, sleep tight.